Hello, TDS Queen here, and it has been a while, and my apologies. I took a break. Had some Trump fatigue syndrome. Needed a break. I know that all the shows I watch, they do it all day long and release all these videos, but honestly, I needed a break. Christmas. I basically was Christmas. You know, all the shopping and cookie making and present wrapping, and my daughter's birthday is right before Christmas, 2 weeks before Christmas, so it was a lot. And I did get good news on my health. My numbers are way down, where they almost to normal. So this new medicine that my doctor has gotten me on is the right way to go. So hopefully I will be around for a good long while, as long as I can keep my health insurance. That's the caveat to that. So we shall see. So we have a lot to cover. I will try to make this as quick as possible. I wrote it all down so I don't get sidetracked. Okay, so obviously, first off, Epstein things. Like, the amount of stuff that has come out is absolutely insane. So a couple weeks back, I did want to do a video on this, and I know it's old news, but they put out a story about some of the survivors on when they were on the island trying to get away and actually getting in the ocean, trying to swim towards land and being picked back up by Epstein and punished. I want you to actually consider that. All these little supporters out there that are still rah-rah, sis boom ba Trump. 14 years old, okay? A 14-year-old girl swimming for her life to try to escape sexual abuse of old men, not caring whether basically she lives or dies, as long as she can get away, and tries to get away and then doesn't get away and is brought back to that torturous environment. How sick and disgusting is that? Why do we not want to hold these people to account? It doesn't matter who they are, if they're Democrats or Republicans. That's what's funny about this, is that they all seem to think like, oh, we're going to get the Democrats, but we don't care. We just want them all held to account. It's not political. That doesn't matter. But that's how I'm starting with that, okay? When Trump put out this little Truth Social thing about Epstein, that was recent. This is what it said. Now 1 million more pages on Epstein are found. DOJ is being forced to spend all its time on this Democrat-inspired hoax. Okay, so it's a hoax, huh? But just for your name, it's a hoax. When do they say no more and work on election fraud, etc.? The Dems are the ones who worked with Epstein, not the Republicans. Yeah, Dems like you, Trump. Because remember back when you were his BFF, that was the party that you belonged to, was Democrat Party? You think we're forgetting that? I haven't forgotten that. Release all their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping our country. Like I said, this is not political. We don't care who's in the files. We just want them all held accountable for their crimes. The radical left doesn't want people talking about Trump and Republican success. Only a long ago dead Jeff Epstein. Just another witch hunt. You see what he's doing, right? Anything that's true is always fake news or a witch hunt. When he goes out of his way to draw attention to this, okay, he is a suer. He loves to sue people. Don't you think for 1 second, if all this stuff that was out that people were saying and stuff, he wouldn't hesitate to bring some kind of massive lawsuit against people? Because he can't. He doesn't want to be deposed. He doesn't want to give a deposition on this. He's not going to do that because he knows that this is true, okay? He wants it gone. How about a statement of when he got interviewed by a reporter about the new naval ships that he's going to put his name on? I'm not even going to go into that. Midas Touch did one with a naval officer. He did a much better job than I would ever do, but please give me a freaking break. These new ships, he's talking about, we're doing these new ships and you're still talking about Epstein? I thought that was over. Okay, that's how narcissists operate, okay? They make it your problem. Like, you're so foolish for talking about this still. It's weird that you care about this. How weird is it you care about this? That's what I mean. That's what they do. Okay, so they're making like, why are you still talking about it? I thought this was done. Like, weird. You're still talking about this. No. we're still going to keep talking about this. Until we get what we want, we're going to keep talking about this. All right. They went out of his Department of Justice went out of the way, and that's another thing. His Department of Justice. I'll get to that in a minute. They went out of their way. They asked the courts to release grand jury transcripts because they knew courts don't normally do that. So in the beginning, before they had to release the files, they thought, well, I'll just ask the courts to release the transcripts, and they won't. And we'll say, oh, we did everything we could. It's not our fault they wouldn't release them. So then the courts did release them, but then they redacted them. Basically, like 100 plus pages of just black. If you scrolled through your screen, it was just black. I mean, this is such a joke, this release. I mean, there's so many redactions, and the only thing they're supposed to redact is the victim names. They're not supposed to redact any perpetrators on the grounds that they'll be embarrassed or it will be politically damaging to them. That's not a reason. They're not allowed to do that, which obviously they're doing it. And I heard something today on my show that people, they don't have the right kind of software when they did these redactions because that costs money. And Elon got rid of it with Doge so that people actually have a way of basically copying, pasting the redactions, taking the redactions away and seeing what it says underneath. I will have to look more into that because that would really be something if that was the case because they didn't do it right. But again, this is such a sloppy job and so many things have gone wrong, like victims' names being released. They don't care about the victims. They're not trying to protect them. They're trying to protect their dear leader, Trump. That's obvious. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, it's all blacked out. This is not transparency, okay? They're putting so much effort into trying to set up anybody but Trump, okay? Like the Diana Ross photo. There was a photo of, I think it was Bill Clinton with Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and there were these girls that had their faces blacked out like they're supposed to be victims, right? Those are kids. One of them responded like, that's me. You know, stop trying to, they're stupid. And Clinton came out and said, go ahead, release them all. That's what somebody, to me, who is not guilty would do, is release them all. There's nothing in there I have to be afraid of, or even if he is, he knows, it doesn't matter. It's going to come out. Just get it over with. There has not been a single other person that has said that, which makes me, think that maybe perhaps he's not the guilty party here. But even if he is, it doesn't matter to me. He should be held accountable for his crimes. Doesn't make a difference whether it's, Bill Clinton or Trump. They all need to go to jail if they've done something wrong. Okay. There was another photo of Clinton in a pool, and some internet sleuth figured out that was a hotel in Brunei. That pool, they did a side-by-side, not Epstein's Island, not a hot tub, whatever they were trying to claim that it was. It was BS, okay? All this effort you're putting into it, maybe just release the files. Maybe just freaking release the files. That's what you're supposed to do, okay? And they're trying to claim this is all a hoax and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, every other information is correct except the stuff about Trump, and that's a hoax. Are you people really that dumb? Are you supporters really that gullible that you think everything in there except about him is not a hoax, but his stuff is a hoax? Like, does that make any kind of sense? I mean, he was BFFs with Epstein. Like, he can claim that he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for being a creep. That's not what happened, okay? Actually look into what happened. There was a real estate deal that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to buy this house for whatever amount of millions of dollars, and Trump basically backdoored him, outbid him, and then gave it or sold it to a Russian oligarch for like a huge gigantic profit, and went behind his back to do that. And Epstein thought there was something shady about that because he knew Trump didn't have that kind of money apparently. So when he tried, it sounds like what happened. I can't, I'm not them. I don't know. I don't want to get sued. I'm just repeating what I've heard. It sounds like that Epstein was going to blow the whistle on Trump. So Trump blew the whistle on Epstein. Basically a blackmail situation. If you remember MAGA Mike coming out and saying that Trump was an FBI informant and then had to walk that back, I think Trump was the one that spilled the beans on Epstein just because Epstein was about to spill the beans on him with financial information. Or maybe even, the child trafficking stuff. Who knows? But it had nothing to do with Trump kicking him out because he was a creep. Because all those years before, he was doing it right in front of his face. Virginia Giuffre, that happened in Mar-a-Lago, right in front of him. He knew what was going on. That's not why that he kicked him out. That has nothing to do with that. Not one thing. So for people to believe that that's what happened, please, I have a bridge to sell you. And has Trump gotten out and talked about how horrible this whole situation is? Has he gone about, trying to get justice for the victims and said how important that is and nothing else matters but justice for the victims? No. Has he said everybody should be in jail that has done this? No. All he's done is wah, Democrat hoax, wah, we're making new victims with the billionaires, and oh man, guilt by association, and what if they're innocent, and oh, just because they hung around Jeffrey Epstein doesn't mean they did anything wrong. I think we're smart enough to figure that out on ourselves. Just like the Hakeem Jeffries email that ended up not being a thing because it was a campaign email that got sent out to everybody, and they tried to make it like, oh, they sat down and they took money from him, and that's not at all what happened. So we're smart enough to figure that out on our own. Thank you. Okay, there's so many victims that are saying the same thing. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, like, the character of this man, he has said that he, likes to treat women like SH. He's been backstage at his little Miss America beauty pageants or whatever, Teen America, and walked in on them naked because he could, grab women by the you-know-what. He was found liable for sexual assault with E.G. and Carroll. Like, so many things have happened. It can't just be a hoax. It can't be nothing. Like, the character of this man. He has showed you who he is. Shown you who he is over and over and over again. This is who he is. If you think for 1 second that he is innocent, why has he not just come out and released the files? Because it would prove that he's innocent. An innocent person does not behave this way. An innocent person does not get their Department of Justice to cover up for them like this. That's not what's going on here. Use your freaking brains. Okay? What's more likely? That we're all wrong and he's 100% innocent? I mean, honestly, Occam's razor here. Give me a break. Okay? The DOJ is already setting up an excuse. This is their little post. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. Okay, who was president then? To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false. And if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Okay, 1, Trump was president before the 2020 election. So all of you out there that, why didn't Biden release the files? Trump had him first. Okay, see how I can just flip that right back around? Why didn't Trump release the files? You don't think for 1 second that things could have been going on even way back then? I do. And number 2, look what they've done to the DOJ. Like I said I was going to say earlier. This is absolutely appalling, and it's hard because there's so much stuff that comes out every single day. That's also why I had to take a break, because you can't even keep up with it. It's just so much illegal things day in and day out. It's just madness. The White House has now taken over all communication, so they control the narrative, okay? They cried about DOJ weaponization in the Biden administration. Are you kidding me? I mean, of course they think in that communication that the information would have been used against Trump, because that's what they would have done. If they had seen that, they would have used it. They would have weaponized it against people, because that's what they would have done, okay? But that's not how it used to work. The DOJ is supposed to be an independent organization from all the other branches. It's not Trump's personal lawyers that defend him, but that's what he's turned it into. That is so wrong. Like, how can you think that's right? That is beyond the pale that he has done this, that he has taken over communication from them, that he has weaponized the Justice Department. Basically, they, he says jump, they say how high. They're defending him. Like, absolute insanity. They have never done this for any other president, ever. Like, I forget the story. I think Obama said it about his justice system coming to him. We needed such and such, and he's like, we can't. That's political. We can't do that. That's not how this works. Because it's not. That's not how it works. That's how it works for Trump, though, because F the rules, right? Oh, I mean, let's not forget way back when Epstein was asked when he was alive if he ever socialized with Trump with underage girls, and he pled the fifth. Didn't Trump say only guilty people plead the fifth? Yeah, he did. If that didn't happen, why didn't he just say no? That didn't happen. Because it happened. Then you have the emails with the flight logs in them. And now we find out that he was on that plane a heck of a lot more times than he said that he would. And it also came out that Trump, when he was, that came out when he was president, by the way, those emails. came out that he was on the plane, or they were written, I mean, when he was president. He was on the plane with Ghislaine, or whatever her stupid name is, and a victim during the time when these crimes would have been committed. And then there's the perjury from her when she gave the interview saying she was never around Trump and a victim and never saw anything untoward. That's gone. That was perjury. She did not tell the truth with that. I mean, he's setting this up. He's setting this up already, like the election fraud. He's trying to say that it's AI, that it's fake, that none of this is real. He did the same thing with the election. When he started in the very beginning, long before the election took place, that it was the only way the Democrats were going to win would be if they cheated, that mail-in ballots were cheating, that COVID was a hoax designed for the Democrats to win through mail-in ballot cheating. Like, he set this up long before, and that's what he's trying to do here. I mean, he came out with something in 2024 that tried to say that this was going to be AI. There was like a Truth Social or a tweet or something, I forget. I think it was a Truth Social. That this was AI and it wasn't real and all of that. And Bondi and Patel, they lied too. So they should be held in contempt for lying under oath. They totally perjured themselves. Said there was no co-conspirators, that Epstein only trafficked to himself, and now we know from the emails that there were at least 10. And where are those names? Why haven't we been given those names? I'm sure Patel will try to weasel out of this, claiming that there's no credible evidence, because that's how he set it up when they question him, because, leaving himself a little backdoor escape. Saying that when Kennedy asked him, are there any co-conspirators? From what we've seen, from the evidence that we've seen, there's no credible evidence. So he can just lie and say there was new evidence brought to light, or he didn't see the new evidence that there were co-conspirators. But that's why the emails have dates on them, because that's old. And we all know that was in their possession. So him saying that, he's lying. We know there was more people than just Epstein trafficking to himself. Because what was he doing? Paying himself? Like, he made all this money, he had to get it from somewhere. My husband thinks he's going to get away with this, and Trump, and that makes me sick, because he can't get away with this. He just can't. I'm sorry, my jaw's hurting. I can't imagine the victims right now, what they're going through, what they're thinking that, I'm sure they knew that he would try to, mess this up and keep it under wraps, but justice has to be done. Somebody has to pay for these crimes. All of them have to pay for these crimes, not just somebody. Yeah. We have to keep talking about this. I mean, they are breaking the law every single day that they're not releasing this. They are breaking the law. They were told to release all the files. Everything they've got. I think it was December 19th. And what are we at now? Still not all the files. So, this is BS. They're breaking the law every single day they do this. There will, I'm sure, be a whistleblower that comes forward, because I think it might have been Ro Khanna that was talking about that the other day. They did an interview with him saying that, yeah, there's been people that have been contacting him, because they're only going to wait so long for this. They shouldn't be waiting at all, in my opinion. This should be done. There should be people coming forward. I know it's scary. I know there's probably death threats, and, who knows if Epstein really killed himself. I'm sure it's terrifying. And you certainly, when the DOJ says, oh yeah, we're open to people calling us, and victims can call us anytime. Yeah, right. So you can track them down and silence them. Nah, I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust this DOJ. Heck no. So, no. But somebody will come forward with this. I don't think this is going to last much longer. I mean, I pray to God it doesn't. Their plan, I feel like, is if they just keep redacting, they're going to keep redacting, but then the presumption of guilt is just getting worse. So the more you redact, the more we think he's guilty. But then the flip side of that is if they release, full release of that, then it's definitive guilt. Then we'll see exactly what went on. And they're just picking the lesser of two evils. They know they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So which is worse? Not knowing and just thinking that he's guilty, or actually knowing that he's guilty. So they're going with the former, obviously. And that leads me into his supporters. I try, like I said, not to respond anymore or get into, trollish fights. I don't know. I'm an empathetic person. I can't wrap my head around, and I'm intelligent. I went to school. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but it's not so much intelligence. It's just the ability to have, independent thought, I guess. I haven't been a member of a cult. I haven't been snowed by this administration. I don't understand how, I guess I just can't wrap my head around that. But I feel like, I guess it's because they live in a, steady diet of Fox News that I can kind of understand. But I mean, I don't know how they can go along with the Epstein thing, because it's everywhere. Unless you are literally living in a bubble, a Fox News bubble. And even then, but what's it going to take? What does he have to do? I mean, he came out and joked that one time that he could kill somebody and nobody's going to do a thing about it or whatever. I really think that he could. I think he could walk up to somebody, shoot him in the face, and his supporters would be like, that's fine. I don't care. As long as we own the libs. Because that's what it's all about. It's just ridiculous. But I mean, even Fox News is starting to crumble. I mean, they're showing bad polls. I'm sure they're showing some Epstein stuff, but he's losing it. Trump is losing it. Look at his speeches. That small, pathetic one in Pennsylvania, which, what the heck was that? His greatest hits. And then his TV address. Okay, you know what it reminded me of? Have you ever seen the SNL skit of Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze when they do the Chippendale dancers? And they pick Patrick Swayze because obviously. And it's at the end, and Chris Farley's sad that he didn't make it, and so he starts trying to dance again kind of sadly and, doing his moves and stuff, and they're like, oh, no. Oh, Barney, no. That's what I feel like with Trump, oh, no, honey, no. Going out there and, this isn't going to work anymore. No, no. It's just sad, watching him up there. It's sad. You're done. You don't have the power that you used to have. You're done. And, I mean, his greatest hits, like I said, especially the racism, okay? The stuff Vance said at the Turning Point about Jasmine Crockett, it was something like, her street girl persona or something. It couldn't be more freaking racist. And, you don't really have to read between the lines on that one. But, I mean, you want the exact quote, you can look it up. I don't want to go read it again. I mean, it's just sad and pathetic. But another thing he said was, we need to get rid of those stupid Senate rules so we can get our judges confirmed. Okay? Again, his supporters, why are you okay with not following our laws? I don't get it. Your world is burning down, but let's own the libs, what? Is this seriously just about owning the libs? I mean, what do you really care about? Do you not care about getting a house? Or people starving, or people losing their health care? Do you legit think you don't deserve those things? Because I think you do. I think everybody deserves to own a house. I think everybody deserves to make a living wage. I think everybody deserves to be able to eat and afford food and also have health care and not worry about health problems bankrupting them. I don't think that's out of line. And I don't think that it's out of line that your government should provide those things for you. Not, give you a free house, but they should do things to ensure that you're able to afford one. So I don't think that's out of line. But that's what people actually care about, and that's what the Democrats are going to run on, and that's why they're going to win the midterms. But, we're still focused on the pee-pee-poo-poo bathroom stuff with the trans people. Oh, trans for everybody. I stop trans for everybody. What does that even mean? What does that even mean, transgender for everybody? This is so stupid. What? I'm going to ask you something. This is fear-mongering, okay? Especially for the boomers, okay? That generation, I mean, it's the same thing with the being gay. Gay is scary. Oh, you're going to catch being gay like it's some kind of disease that you're going to get infected with. It's the same thing with that. Now, the new gay is transgender. Transgender for everybody. Oh, these big, scary transgender people. Okay. How many trans people do you really know? I mean, unless you, and I'm talking about MAGA people. I'm not talking about regular, normal individuals who might be okay with having transgender friends or people, going out to gay bars or have, normal everyday people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these little, MAGA people. How many trans people do you legit know? Especially in rural communities, okay? Because that's not where I would live if I was trans. I'd be going to a city that was accepting of me. I'm not going to live in deep red Alabama as a transgender person if I could avoid it. Hell no. So, I mean, honestly, how many people do you actually know? How have they affected your life in any way? Really? Seriously, how have they affected your life? What are they doing to you? Okay? Probably zero would be my guess. Okay? I'm in a big town. I have seen 2 at the store. Okay? Granted, I don't get out a lot. I don't have a gigantic social group of friends, but I do know quite a few people in my life. And what happened in that situation? My daughter complimented one of their purses. They said thank you. And then when I left my cell phone in the cart, they brought it to me when I was outside. Seems like a regular, good individual, normal human being to me. It wasn't a situation where I had to worry about the pronouns. They didn't force their way of life on me. We didn't have a big, long discussion about anything. They're just regular people. So for him to make that such a big issue, like, I stopped men from participating in women's sports, and I stopped transgender for everybody. Nobody cares, okay? Only your stupid, idiot, most cultiest cult members care about that stupid nonsense. The rest of us don't, because it's not a thing. Okay, so speaking of him breaking the law, you have Alan Dershowitz. Got it. Trying to find a way for Trump to run for a 3rd term, okay? This is circumventing the Constitution. Like I said, this is the law and order party, all right? It's just like the stupid Antifa thing that I saw the other day, okay? When they brought them in front of the Senate Judicial Committee, whatever. It's not an organization, okay? They were asked, where's their headquarters? How many members do they have? Who's their leader? They couldn't answer any of that because it's not a thing, because that's a lie, another lie, okay? Antifa stands for anti-fascism, okay? So anybody that doesn't like fascism, I guess, would be an Antifa member. So that's not even a thing, okay? Whereas Proud Boys, that is a thing. White supremacist groups, that is a thing. They should be focusing on that. And when they were asked if they were still up there, I think they refused to even answer if the Proud Boys was still on their radar or if they just let it go. Because that's their supporters. That's who they support. So they're all about the Proud Boys, apparently. But let's go after not a thing Antifa. So what they're doing, like I said, it's just another lie, just another distraction. They're trying to shut down any dissent or disagreement with the president, okay? Look at that 60 Minutes interview, okay? There was supposed to be, for 5 months, I think it was, they did their research and good investigative journalism on the CCOT prison and the immigrants that were not supposed to be flown there but were without due process. I think they interviewed 2 of them. They did, dotted their I's and crossed their T's. They were done everything they were supposed to do. And then you got that frickin' Barry Weiss that said, well, the president, the White House didn't comment on it, so we can't run it. No. That's not how journalism works. You reach out and offer them the opportunity to comment. If they don't, then that's on them. That's not the prerequisite for running a story. Can you imagine if that's how every news story operated? You would never get any news. That's the way it operates in like Russia and North Korea, and that's slowly what we're becoming with the state-run media, because heaven forbid anybody disagree with what dear leader is doing. We have to squash that story, and that's exactly what Barry Weiss did. But what's funny is that it got out anyways because there was a Canadian syndicate or whatever TV station that ended up running it anyway. So it's still out there in the world. So I suggest that you watch it. And but I mean, that's fascism right there. Just that's it. And another thing with his FCC, did you watch those interviews? Because I did. With Brandon Carr of the FCC, that is meant to be another, just like the DOJ, another independent organization. But now they magically aren't. And they are saying that they can go after programs that say bad things about Trump, and Democrats are the free speech police? Please, no. I mean, don't you see how dangerous this is? Like I said, this is what North Korea and Russia do, the state-run media. You're supposedly for smaller government, and government is up in our shit right now, in every aspect of our lives. They're trying to police what we're watching and saying on TV, and the FCC, literally, they called him out, investigating every channel except for Fox. Of course, Fox News. Of course they're not investigating them. And his reason for why is that things should be policed that are not accurate or that are being deceptive. Dude, that is Fox News. All they do is come out and lie and be deceptive, but they're not being investigated by the FCC. No, no, no. Because they are pushing the Trump agenda. So, of course, they're not being investigated. Of course. I mean, again, do you really think we're all wrong and this one man is the only one telling the truth? That Trump is the only one over science, over every reputable news source, over the internet, things you can find on your own? I mean, really? The only one supposedly right all the time for all you Christians out there is God. Trump is not God. Trump was not appointed by God. I hate to burst your bubble. No. He is everything anti-God. Everything he does. This is the most un-Christ-like man I have ever seen in my life. So no. I mean, look at what he did with those stupid plaques he made under the president's names. Oh, Biden on the plaque was the worst president in the history of blah, 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 with the auto pen and da-da-da. And then Barack Obama, the most divisive president in our history. And he did the stupid Unaffordable Care Act. And then Clinton, he beat his wife in the election. Even Fox News hosts were like, no, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with the trolling. Not because it was bad, but because they're thinking in the future, what happens when a Democrat gets in there? Are we going to play these games and just continue back? And what are they going to put under Trump's name? Hell yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. That would be a freaking plaque novel up there with all the crap that he did. But I mean, this is the president, okay? Like I said, with the whole, we're going to own the libs. This is owning the libs. Haha, look what he did. This isn't your friend at the bar, okay? That would be a funny thing to do as like a high school prank under a teacher's name. This is the president. This is who you want your child emulating. Like, it's not funny. It's sad. It's sad, pathetic bullying. I mean, no, that's not okay. That is not okay behavior from the president, okay? Moving on. This is the administration of why don't you go ahead and make me? That was, something that I thought the other day. Why don't you just go ahead and make me? Because they just continually break the law. They could be doing that, why don't you go ahead and make me, and using it for good, for things to help people, like circumventing laws that benefited us. But that's not what they're doing. No. I mean, what they're doing is like telling a doctor, you don't have your license anymore, and then I'm just going to go ahead and practice medicine every single day. Look at the war crimes. Like, I think that was in the last video I made, was about Pete Hegseth and what he was doing. For those of you out there that haven't lost all your empathy, what if this is reversed and this is our soldiers that are in the water somewhere? That somebody from another country has accidentally mistaken them for drug traffickers and blows up their boat. And let's say they're in the water. 2 American soldiers floating in the water for 40 minutes, waving their shirts in a gesture of surrender, and the other country says F it and blows them up anyways. We would be freaking out. Everybody in the country would be up in arms, get even, go to war, whatever. We would be mad. So how do you think those countries feel? Okay? There has still been zero evidence presented that these people were drug traffickers. There was zero evidence of the drugs. Why would they pluck 2 people out of the water after that and return them to their country without any charges? Okay, still. And he still hasn't released the second video of him bombing these 2 people. Probably never will. But these are war crimes. And again, with all the Epstein stuff coming out right now, we've kind of just let that go, apparently. I can only hope that one day all these people will be held accountable, especially Pete Hegseth for his war crimes, because that's what they are. Let's not be confused about that. They are. All right, where are we? What's going on in Russia? Another situation. Ukraine is a fellow democracy, okay? We should support that. We should support Ukraine. Yet Trump goes on Politico and says Zelensky is a loser. He had the red carpet rollout for Putin when he visited. He supports Putin. This is why he wants to rig elections. He knows how unpopular he is and that they can't win and how many people that he's screwing. I mean, just sidebar, the farmers, China buying 27 million metric tons from them under Biden. And you got Caroline Leavitt coming out and saying that they didn't buy anything from Biden. Oh my God. Again, easily provable lie. Yes, they did. Takes you 2 seconds to look that up to know that was a lie. And what has China bought from us this year? what is it, like a couple 100,000? Like, maybe? Who knows? Because who knows if he releases the right kind of numbers or not? Who knows? The point is, it's less, way, way less. And it's because of him, and it's because of his tariffs, and now he has to do a bailout. You know the other time that they did a farmer bailout? The last time he was president. So why they voted for him a second time, if any farmers voted for him a second time, what did you get? Amnesia? Did you not remember what he did to you the first time? I mean, my God. So no, things aren't better under him, okay? So another reason why we have to vote in 2026 to stop all this freaking madness, because there was another thing that came out. It was some memo from the Department of Justice that was like designating basically everybody as a terrorist because they didn't, whatever, if you don't agree with Trump or if such and such you're a terrorist, it was a long list and it was just absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, it's meant to scare us out of voting, and they're not scaring me out of voting. And I hope they don't scare anybody else out of voting. And they certainly won't be able to claim that there's a bunch of fraud because all the illegals voted in the election, because if they're kicking all of them out, how are they voting for Democrats? So we'll see. We'll see how that goes in 2026. I'm curious to know which BS excuse they're going to use this year. All right, moving on. The economy. So he ran on affordability, right? He was going to take prices down on the first day. But, now affordability is a hoax. Now we have to be patient. He said he was going to bring prices down on day one. Now, obviously, that's stupid. He promised something that he couldn't deliver on. But his supporters fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So why is a billionaire telling us we don't need pencils? Did you hear him say that in his speech, that we can give up pencils? Why is a billionaire telling me how many dolls I'm allowed to buy my daughter for Christmas? Okay, this man has never been in a grocery store. That's why I thought groceries was a new word. Have you heard of this word? Groceries. It's a great word. It's the same way he says Somalia. Don't you just hate how he says it? Somalia. Me and my husband make fun of him all the time. He's just such a tool. But anyways, I don't like a billionaire telling me how to run my finances, especially one that sucks at business and is bankrupt at a bunch of things and doesn't pay his contractors and construction workers. No, I'm good. But a while back, I meant to make this video a long time ago, but I had this quote in here because it is still important. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent came out and was asked by a reporter, don't you need to show that you feel their pain, meaning the American people? His response, she showed him all the abysmal numbers. His response was, I think the president is frustrated by the media coverage. What? Oh, it's the media telling me things are too expensive. Right. The media. That's not my own eyes in the grocery store telling me things are too expensive. Right. Got it. I will tell you, affordability has two components, inflation and real income. Real income is up 1%. Ooh. We're working on it every day, meaning inflation. But remember, we've got embedded inflation from Biden. Oh my God. Okay, when Biden left, he handed an economy over that was the envy of the world. The Economist, the Wall Street Journal, and Bloomberg said it was a Goldilocks economy. 16 million jobs created, unemployment record lows, inflation on the way down. They're hiding the numbers. Did you see that? That they're not releasing the jobs numbers and the GDP or whatever else. Like, all these numbers are just like, no, we're not. We're not going to. And they used zero when they did their calculations for October because of the shutdown. They didn't actually have the correct numbers for, job loss and gross domestic product and all of that. They didn't have the numbers for it. So they just inputted zero in their calculations. And so that skewed all the numbers to make them look good. So he can come out there and, parade Caroline Levitt out there and say that the economy's doing great. Look at these numbers. But then somebody pointed out that, are you using zero for October? You don't get to do that. And that's what they did. And it skewed all their numbers. So yeah, now it looks good. It's not. The numbers we have right now are reminiscent of the Great Recession. Like jobs loss, all this, bad. Just bad all the way around. Like I've said before, I've worked retail the majority of my life. My jobs have been retail or retail adjacent. Okay. Every quarter, the higher ups are told you have to do better than last quarter. Okay. We have to make more money than last quarter. We're at this amount. Next quarter, we have to go up such and such amount %. We have to do better every single quarter. Especially the one after COVID was hilarious because that's a once in a lifetime event where everybody went crazy at the store and bought a bunch of stuff and, stocked up on massive amounts of toilet paper and Clorox and all of that. That's never going to happen again. But then next quarter, they said, well, we have to do better than the last quarter. Yeah, but you're not going to, but they didn't care. You know how they do that? They don't do that by selling more. No. They do that by raising prices and cutting hours. So like I said, what Trump promised the first day to lower prices, not with how greedy people are, not with how greedy these CEOs are. That was a fool's errand. That was never going to happen. Yet, he will come out and say that we are living in a golden age. Because he is. He's living in a golden age. His billionaires are. And how do you become a billionaire? Like I've said, I don't begrudge people money. I don't want to, take all their money away. If you've worked hard, you deserve to have money. You deserve to make a good living if you've worked for it. But these people made their money exploiting their workers. They don't pay them a living wage. They don't let them unionize, like Starbucks. Don't let them unionize. They get huge, gigantic tax cuts. Excuse me, sorry about that. Tax cuts, and they're the real welfare queens, these companies. They're the welfare queens. They are the ones that are feeding off the government. We need to remind them that they need us. Okay, they need us, the consumer. Okay, the boycotts we could do to remind them of that are plentiful. We need to have the list of who donated to that gaudy monstrosity of a ballroom and boycott all those companies, because we're the reasons that they're billionaires. Not things that they did. We're the reason. And I'm sick of that. The corruption is just absolutely insane. Corrupt as you get. Like the latest one, Trump just did a merger of his Truth Social with a nuclear fusion company. Okay, so why nuclear fusion? Okay, so we're running out of power. All the AI stuff, data centers, whatever, take up massive amounts of power. All right, so people's power bills are going up. So we need to figure out another energy for that to run those things. Well, Trump is killing, canceling all the ways to make clean energy to run these massive AI places. So we're running out of all the fossil fuels and all of that. So what's left after that? Nuclear. You see? You see where this is going? He's out to enrich himself. Crypto has tremendous power needs as well, and he's into crypto. AI has tremendous power needs. Do you not see where I'm going with this? So, that's skyrocketing after he did that merger. He was losing, millions and millions of dollars with that Truth Social nonsense, but now he's merged with that company, and that's going to be the energy that's going to be needed for all this AI stuff, and all his little billionaire buddies are into AI, and it just goes full circle. He's just out to enrich himself. I mean, while this is going on, millions are about to lose their health care, and guess what? That promise for a vote that MAGA Mike made to end the shutdown, that didn't happen. Did you think it really was gonna? Because no. They did another petition. I can't remember what that was called. When they did the Epstein one and they did all the signatures, I can't remember what that was called. But they did another one of those to get a vote for healthcare, to circumvent MAGA Mike, because that's the way you circumvent the Speaker of the House. So you bring that, and they had enough, and they were going to do that. What did he do? Took his toys and went home. Ended Congress early, went on break, refused to have a vote for it. I saw their little, like I said, this is psychologically torturing people. And I saw their little, he never had a plan. Do you remember in the beginning when he was asked by that reporter if the government, we're almost done, when the government was going to be shut down, if they had a plan? And he said, the second it opens, I'm going to put out a plan. And we have a plan. The second it opens, we're ready to go. Oh, yeah? Were you right away? No, that didn't happen. So whatever little pathetic thing they put out, because they were having a vote on some little thing, they were trying to backdoor taking away abortion rights. Like, originally they were leaving that up to the states, and that was what Trump always said he was going to do, that it should be a states issue. They were trying to take that away in their little secretive thing, in their little bill that they were putting through. Also, there was going to be no maternity coverage. This is the party of life. No, it's not. Like, all these things that you're lied to, like, this is the party of fiscal conservatives. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Look how much is added to the deficit because of them. And their crazy billionaire tax cuts. I'm sorry, it's the steroids. They make me have crap in my throat. I'm almost off of them. Almost. Like 3 more days. I'm so excited about that. Anyways, But yeah, they're not fiscal conservatives. They're not for law and order. They're not the party of life. They're not the party of Jesus. None of these things. Okay, none of them. It's all lies. You've all been lied to. Okay, like wrap your head around that. You have all these Republicans resigning also. I mean, on one hand, yay, but on the other hand, like, how dare you? You freaking cowards. You made this mess, okay? You screwed this up. You could fix it. Instead, you basically poo in a room, say what stinks, and then run away. Like, you made this mess. Clean up your poo. You don't get to just run away. Clean up the poo. Ugh. All right. And then finally, something that's kind of funny, actually, because I took a picture of it. I did screenshots. And my husband and I laughed about this a good long while, just like watching it over and over again. Trump getting his stupid FIFA Peace Prize, like, just, ugh, you know, it just sums up who he is. Like, I'll show you his face, but I mean, it just sums up who he is. He's got this hole inside of him. It is never going to be filled. I mean, he is a narcissist. It's not going to ever be filled, and we are all along for the ride, and it just sucks. Because there is not enough things that people can do for him that is going to fill this hole that he's got inside of him. There can never be enough butt kissing and sucking up and praise, and it's, no. I mean, like I said, hopefully the 2026 midterms, we do something. I mean, they'll scream it's a witch hunt, and we're just coming after him, and we're weaponizing the DOJ, wah, wah, wah. But, I mean, the time for niceties and strongly worded letters are done. We need him gone. I mean, look what he's done to the standing in our world, like, our standing in the world. Countries don't trust us. They're not sharing intelligence with us anymore. We're the enemy, okay? Are you really okay with us being BFFs with Russia and China and other dictator countries? I'm not. Okay, this... I need to turn my brightness down. When the FIFA president's like, here's your medal, like, look at him. Ooh. And then wait, you got this one where he actually looks like he's a monkey grabbing at his, give me that medal. Ooh, 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 give me that medal. I want it. And then his little yoink, like freaking Gollum with the ring. My precious, my medal, my precious. Like, how sad and pathetic that you need that. Like, they made this just for him so that, I mean, come on. Ugh. This is the man that you idolize. Like, yuck. I've never needed somebody to be like, you know what this is like? Participation trophies for, like, T-ball when you're, like, a kindergartner or in preschool. Like, everybody gets the trophy. Like, good job. And that's what it's like. This is a grown-ass man that they had to give him a participation trophy. That is exactly what it is. And the last thing, and then we're done, is the email scam that's going on right now that Midas Touch is exposing. Midas Touch Network is exposing. Like, I mean, I don't... With the way that he's scamming people, like, thank God I don't have to look at this stuff or be subscribed to these emails, because I sure the heck wouldn't want to deal with this every day, like Midas Touch Network does. It's just, ugh. So, these emails are out, and you click on them, and it says basically like, you know, your address might be wrong, and well, you're not gonna be able to read this because it's bright and it's not the right direction. Okay, but basically what it says, claim gift from Trump, okay, and it has a 47, 100, 250, 500, 1,000, and 2,500 on there. Okay, so you think you're getting a gift, because what does it say? Claim gift from Trump. So you think you're claiming a gift from Trump. So, of course, you would click on, like, let's say, for example, the $2,500 one, because who wouldn't claim the biggest gift, okay? Right? So, claim gift from Trump, okay? And it says on this one, okay, please consider this my way of saying thank you, Merry Christmas, and God bless you for standing with me when our country needs it the most. Confirm your address. I would deeply appreciate it if you would chip in any amount. It could be small or very generous before my end of year fundraising deadline. With you and the full support of MAGA movement, we continue to fight to protect America we cherish. So that was the one before the gift one, okay? So when you click confirm your address, then it takes you to the screen I just showed you before where it shows you claim your gift, okay? Now, when you click on the claim your gift, like I said, then you go to this one. Okay? And it says, alert! Democrats are gaining serious momentum. Their relentless attacks, fueled by millions of dollars in dark money, are paying off. MAGA is on the brink of disaster, and it's time to sound the alarm. President Trump can't hold back the woke mob alone. Keep this box checked to support MAGA in this do-or-die battle. So keep this box checked, right? And then in teeny little print down below, donate an additional $2,500 automatically on 12/31. So if you check that box thinking that keep this box checked to support MAGA in this do-or-die battle, that's why you're checking the box. No, you're really checking it to donate another $2,500. This is like what they do, and they're obviously, supporters. Many of them are elderly, especially the ones that watch Fox News. I know because my papa did, my grandma did. Like, their audience is a lot of elderly people. That's why they do the things they do with the fear-mongering about immigrants and trans and all that. It's a certain kind of audience. Okay, so this is very smelling of elderly scam is what the point of that is. And all of you out there with elderly parents that perhaps are Trump supporters, I would be checking their bank accounts, because these are the people that they take advantage of. These are the people that are easily fooled by emails like this, and I just don't get how this is legal. Again, there's going to have to be lawsuits against this. There's no way. There's no way that this is legal. There's just not. Because what is he fundraising for? He's not running for president. He's not running for office of any kind. I guess you could say that he's donating to his PAC, but do you want to pay for Melania's makeup and Donald's fake spray tan? Like, where do you think your money's going? It doesn't even say it on there. I mean, it's, to fight the woke Democrats? Like, what? Come on. Don't give him your money. Don't be stupid like that, okay? I mean, why does he think he gets to do this? Why? I don't know. I don't get it. Why does he think? Just like when he comes out against the judges and cries about them being, liberal and against him, and radical left-wing judges that are woke, that don't agree with him. I started to think, like, why? I mean, again, it comes back to the narcissism, because he thinks legitimately that he's right. He legitimately thinks that everything he does is right. And he has surrounded himself with people that are going to echo that right back at him and mirror that, and he's never going to think that he's wrong. So therefore, everybody else who disagrees with him is wrong. That's how all narcissists operate. The one in my life would say all the time, if everybody would just do what I wanted, we would all get along. Well, duh. That's like an oversimplification of narcissism right there. Like, yeah, if everybody just does what he says, he's happy. But, like, heaven forbid you disagree with anything that he's doing. That doesn't mean that, everything he's doing is right and lawful. Oh, quite the opposite. But heaven forbid you disagree with him and point out that it's unlawful and illegal what he's doing. Like, he'll just get rid of you. So, I feel like because his supporters are in such close proximity to him and being fed a daily steady diet of Fox News, that they think it's okay too. That all this stuff is fine, that it couldn't possibly be against the law, because look, it's doing it right out in the open. So, it must be the radical, woke, left Democrats, judges that are, ruining his agenda and, keeping us all down and whatever else. Like, just stupid. So, yeah. We're done. That's the end. I'm all caught up now, so hopefully it won't be another 2 or 3 weeks before I make another video. I doubt it, because the stuff that's coming out in rapid fire, I could at least do an Epstein video every single day. But my apologies for disappearing. I hope I didn't worry anybody and they think that maybe my health took a turn and I was dead. Not the case. Obviously I'm fine. Here I am, continuing to make videos, continuing to bring you the news. And I will continue to do that because it's important. More important now than ever. So, it's rough, I know. But we have to keep fighting, and we can't get fatigued, and we have to keep going because your voice matters, and what you do matter, and it will all work out. I'm going to continue to try to stay optimistic on this. But until next time, you all have a good afternoon out there. This is TDS Queen signing off.